Good afternoon, everybody. This is Kate Finn with ELV. We're here a little bit early, so if anybody has any questions or would like to share out from where they are viewing in the live chat box to the right-hand side, go ahead and say something, say hello, that we know you're here, and we will get started here in just a moment. All right, we have another minute before our official start time. But let's hang in there and see who else is going to be joining us today. It is officially 4:30 East Coast time. I hope that everybody has had a wonderful Wednesday so far. Today's presenter webinar is going to be about the tips and tricks. I created this chart just to kind of go over some of the things that I like to highlight when I'm talking to people about our presenter software. As we go through this, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to write your question in the live chat box to the right-hand side. As we get started today, some of our objectives, we want to define some of the most commonly used icons. There are lots of icons you see on this home screen. Eventually, we want to kind of dive a little bit deeper and see what those icons are all about. Discuss several key building blocks. We have a lot of building blocks within our presenter cloud-based software. I'm going to discuss some of my favorites and show you how to use them and even how to implement them into your classroom. Illustrate practical usage of the tools. Well, kind of like what I just said. I would like to show you some of the practical usage of those building blocks and some of the tools that are built in. We do have over 200 built-in tools into our Prowise presenter software. I'm just going to highlight a few of those. We also want to review some tips and tricks as well. At the end, I kind of want to recap and go over everything. And also, that'll be a great time to take any questions you may have or any comments you may have. Again, I want to stress to you as we go through this, if you do have any questions or comments, don't wait to the end. Go ahead, please, and in that live chat box, go ahead and tell me or ask me what your questions and tell me those comments. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. I've made this comment a few times already, but we are using the live chat box. So start off by telling us where you are viewing. Are you in Florida, near me? It's finally sunny, our cold snap is over, and we did not see snow, but we sure felt like we were going to see snow. Maybe you are somewhere that has snow, tell me about it. Rub it in a little bit if you'd like. My children have yet to see real snow, so we can share those stories. Again, that's in that live text box off to the right-hand side. To kind of get us starting off, thinking about tips and tricks. I started to create this file, and then before I logged on, I thought, oh, there's one thing that I forgot to add into that file that I think is super important to let people know. With our Presenter cloud-based software, there are two ways to access the software. One, you can go to prowise.com and select Start Presenter, or you can simply download a free desktop app. Now, the reason I say that, highlight the fact that there are two ways is because on the web version, you will be missing two icons that you will have on the desktop app. The desktop app is what I'm using here, and in the lower right-hand corner of the desktop app, I see a tabletop mode, as well as it looks like a white piece of paper with blue pencil markings on it. So again, that's in the lower right-hand corner of the desktop app. The tabletop will allow you to put your Prowise panel into table position with the ease of a press of a button. When you do that, you can select that tabletop mode, and there will be tabletop games that your students can interact with. Keeping in mind that our panels have multiple touch, this allows for more students to be standing around the panel, collaborating and working together. That white piece of paper with the blue markings on it, that is our Pro Annotate. Pro Annotate will allow you to annotate on top of anything that you have in the background. So maybe it's on your desktop, maybe you are teaching the validity of sources online. You're talking about the tree octopus, and you get the students believing in the tree octopus. Well, now you can take your annotate icon there in the lower right-hand corner of the desktop app, and you can show them, wow, we're on a .com website, or their sources are quoting things from Wikipedia, and you can annotate on top of that. Now again, here I have just a quick screen grab of what it would look like from the web version. You notice that on the web version, I am missing those two icons on the right-hand side. I have my full screen, settings, and then it should have the tabletop and annotate. But again, on the web version it won't. So that's one of those little tips I like to let people know about ahead of time, and to encourage them to use that desktop app. It is free to download onto your desktop, and it comes complimentary with two extra icons that you'll probably be using quite often. I've broken down some of my favorite icons. I kind of narrowed it down into 4 icons that I like to use. I'm going to start with our media icon. The media icon looks like two pictures, like a picture and a video, stacked on top of each other. That can be found in the lower left-hand corner next to the file folder. But once I get familiarized with that, I'll show you a little bit more. But when I get more familiarized with our Add Media icon, I will soon find out the powers behind it. If I scroll down to the Add Media, again, that's in that lower left-hand corner next to the file folder, and I select Add Media, I can bring in images, whether those are images from Google, maybe they're images from my own computer. I can bring in illustrations and symbols. The illustrations and symbols are going to be more, think of like clip art. So it's the Prowise clip art. There are hundreds of pieces of clip art in there. You will not be disappointed. I have backgrounds as well. The backgrounds can be lines, they can be grids if you're teaching math. We even have the handwriting lines for students who are learning to hold that pencil the correct way and write that capital letter from the top to the bottom, etc. I also have video. I can import my own video, or I can search YouTube, and this is going to be important here in a minute, but I will come back to that. Sound. The sound icon is important because we do, just like our clip art or our illustrations and symbols, we do have some already put together clip art type of sounds, like a door closing, hands clapping, etc. I can also import my own sounds. Now, why would that be important? Well, if you're teaching English language learners, say, you could now have a word in their language spoken and re-say it in our language, in English or their secondary language. So I can import sounds, my own sounds, into there. Let's go back up here to images. I'm going to select images. And when I select images, it will kind of default to a page that looks like this. It'll have click on any example below to open. Well, if I want to do a quick search, I'm going to go up into the quick search bar. I'm going to tap in there. I'm going to just do a quick search for dogs. I'm going to select the eyeglass icon next to the search bar, and then it will automatically do a Google search of dogs. Now, if there are multiples, that I want to choose from, I can simply leave window open, and now I can go through and just select a few pictures that I want to use. Once I've selected the pictures I want to use, I'm simply going to X out. And now on my presenter screen, I see those dogs that I have imported. I can click and drag those puppies wherever I would like to. I can come over here to the icon underneath the mouse, the pointer finger, which we will discuss here in a second. I can select the select icon, and I can now resize these images. And we'll talk more about that select icon next. But first, I just want to resize and make a little bit more space on my file here. There we go. So as you can see, that just saved me a boatload of time. I did not need to go to Google or a different search engine and type in dogs, find the picture of the dog I wanted, right-click, save as to my desktop, then go back in, search dogs again, right-click, save as, and then have to take all those that I've saved and now put them into a file. It was quick, it was easy, and I am done. Now, if I go back down to that Add Media icon, and I go to Video, I do the same thing. I'm just going to go into the quick search bar. I'm going to type in dogs, and I'm going to select the eyeglass icon. Again, when I do this, it does a YouTube search of dogs. Now, one thing I do want to point out is, I can again leave this window open. If I select a video, it will go ahead and generate. But if you take a look now at this video, you'll notice something different than if I were to go straight through YouTube to get this video. There are no ads up here at the top. There's no watch this next along the right-hand side or even on the left-hand side. When I go to start this video, it will start right away. When the video is done, it's done. There's no automatically starting the next video of something maybe inappropriate for your class to see. There's no more diving in front of your projector like, oh, don't watch this. Prowise Presenter has filtered out all of those YouTube ads, so now you get just that video you've looked for. So now think about, you've already created this lesson for tomorrow's class. You've imported the video you wanted using Presenter software, and the next day you can go in, you know that there are no ads, and you know that video is going to start right away. I can't tell you how many times when I was teaching, I would have a video from YouTube, and the ads were appropriate, I was good to go. I went in to start the video the next day to preview the video before my classes came in, only to realize that, whoa, no, there's some new ads that are being streamed through this. I cannot have my students watching this. So with Presenter software, it kind of gives you that relief of, okay, this is going to be all right. All the ads are filtered out. So that is in that Add Media. Add Media, I can add pictures, clip art, sounds, videos, backgrounds, everything that I want to make my lesson or my file a little bit prettier. I told you we would talk about this next, the select icon. The select icon looks like a little square with an arrow inside of it. The select icon we showed with the dogs, we were able to resize an image. When we tapped on it, if you noticed, you probably saw 5 extra icons up at the top. We are going to talk about those. So here I have this beautiful scenery of a beach. The select icon, again, it's on that floating toolbar on the left-hand side. I can select my palm tree, and when I select my palm tree, I get these 5 extra icons. I also get 4 blue circles in either corner of that palm tree, and I get 4 white circles or gray circles on the sides. If I were to grab one of those white circles and just click and drag it, I can mirror that image. Same if I were to click from the bottom and go up, I can flip the image. So that's a very helpful tool. If you have downloaded an image and you, oh man, this person is facing the wrong way, I need them to face the opposite way. Well, easily done. Use your select tool and click and drag. The blue circles you may be familiar with is just a resizing. I can shrink down that palm tree or I can make it a large palm tree. The 5 icons on top, we have our edit, which looks just like the select icon with an extra box. The edit button will allow me to make that image into a transparency. It will allow me to layer or order, align, group, image cropping, infinitely duplicate, copy, cut, and paste. Well, since this is a beach scene and I wanted to have lots of palm trees on my beach, I selected infinite duplication, and now every time I click and drag from that original palm tree, I get a new palm tree. There we go. We have several floating random palm trees on our picture now. I'm going to again use that select button. I can select on my beach towel here, but I really would like that beach towel and the towel pillow to be together and move together. Right now they're not even moving together. They're 2 separate images. What I can do is I can, using the select, click and drag a square over the 2 towels. Once I've clicked and dragged, I see that blue dotted box around them. I can release, and again I have the 5 icons. I can come up to the edit icon and select group. Now I'm going to come back over to the left-hand side and select my mouse or my pointer finger. And now when I click and drag my towel, it all moves together. So I am good right there. So again, that is my select icon. Select icon, as you are creating lessons, you will find yourself using that probably every single time. Again, my select icon on the left-hand toolbar, it'll allow me to edit an image. It'll allow me to link an image, this paper clip. I can add a building block. I could put a right or wrong, have a wah wah, or you got the answer correct when a student selects it. I can add sounds. These can be, again, sounds that are already in Presenter software or my own sounds. I can link to either a website or within Presenter. If you're familiar with Prezi, same type of concept. I can zero in on a different page. Or I can add a frame. I can lock an image. I can rotate an image. If I want to rotate an image, I take this, what looks like almost a full circle. I click it, and I will drag that. Now I've rotated that image. Or I can trash it all together. Like, no, don't need a towel today. Again, that is my select. So far we have talked about your add media, adding video, pictures, sounds, clip art, and backgrounds. We have also spoken about the select icon, which is like the ultimate edit icon. I'm going to come over here to what I keep referring to as the pointer. I want to bring this to your attention because this pointer, the reason I have it here, it's like your mouse. But I wanted to have it there to remind everybody that our panels are 10 points of touch. Sometimes we are so used to only having 1 or 2 points of touch in our classroom technology that when we have a Prowise account and Prowise panel in our classroom, we forget, oh, I actually can have 10 students working on this at the same time. So here what I've done on this screen, all I've done is I used a Google Doc. I've taken using Annotate down here in the lower right-hand corner, so I was using the desktop app. I took a screenshot of a Google Doc that I had that was about the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Now what I can do is I can have several students on this first part of the essay looking for all the nouns. The next group, I want you to be looking for the verbs. And maybe this last group, let's look for all the prepositions, please. So now I've differentiated that instruction. The students can use the pencil icon. And maybe I want them to be using yellow highlighter. Maybe because our school colors are green, I want them to use the green color. Now each group can go through and find that on that document. Again, you may notice that I have two upside down documents here. That's because I have put the panel into table position. So now I have multiple students coming around the panel, annotating, talking together, collaborating. Oh, do you think this is a noun? I don't know. Is that a person, place, or thing? And they can work on that together. The next one is ProConnect. ProConnect, next to the select one, ProConnect is probably one of my favorite icons, or my favorite tools within presenter software. It is so powerful and so helpful in a classroom. Here, I again have just a screenshot of the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And what I have asked my students to do is I can push this out to any internet-enabled device. I taught middle school for quite some time. I know half of my students had their cell phones in their back pockets or on their laps underneath their desk. Well, instead of taking away those cell phones, well, why don't we just have them use it? That's all they want to do anyway, is use that cell phone for something. So ProConnect. I can push it out, again, to any internet-enabled device, whether that's a Chromebook, a cell phone, an iPad, a laptop computer. I'll come down here on the bottom tool tray, and I see that ProConnect. It looks like a blue icon with a spinning piece of paper. And I can start ProConnect. When I start ProConnect, it'll give me a group code. Students can go to prowise.com and select Start ProConnect. Now, a lot of times when we think about ProConnect, those of you who've been using Prowise for quite some time, you think, oh yeah, I can vote and I can share screen. Well, you can differentiate a lot using that share screen. For example, my students have already completed their task, but what I did is each student, I sent the same article to every device, but I asked individual students to look for individual parts of speech. So Jake here was looking for nouns, and he used a yellow highlighter because that's what he preferred to use at the time. And then Kate over here was looking for verbs in that passage. Once they've gone through that passage and it's highlighted, annotated, what have you, they can send that passage in, and now I get to save those results within my presenter. I've gone completely paperless for this activity. There was no waiting in line for the printer that's been jammed for 2 days or that's run out of toner. This is done quickly and easily, saving the results, but also their names. If you look down in the lower left-hand corner of each of these answers, their names are attached. So when I do go back, I can see who answered what and how they answered. Down here, I also have, let me see if I can bring this up too. I have this one. So this is what each student is seeing, or excuse me, what the teacher is seeing. Each student's answers will come up as an icon down at the bottom. It may be a little bit difficult to see right now, but go ahead and play with ProConnect. Share your screen, see what you can see as well. I can have multiple students' answers right in this tray, I can bring up 4 up at a time and annotate on top of that and give that live feedback, immediate feedback to those students instead of making them wait a couple of days to get that feedback from the teacher and get a grade. I can give it to them immediately. So again, that is ProConnect, and there are many amazing tools that are in ProConnect that you can use. Again, you have Vote, Share Screen. We'll talk about a few other tools using ProConnect here in a little bit, but it's just a quick assessment for your students. And again, people less, no more lines. All right, so those are some of my favorite icons that I wanted to share with you. I'm going to go to my next one, and I have this one listed as a few of my favorite things. We're rounding the corner to the holidays, and all I can think of is The Sound of Music. These are a few of my favorite things. So I have 1, the mind map, 2, Codewise. We just got done with Hour of Code last week. Doesn't mean that you have to stop coding. Keep coding. Keep coding. Have your students use this Codewise and have them learn how to do it using either Codewise. We also have the unplugged version, which are cards. We'll get into that in a minute. And then we have one of my new favorite icons, my new favorite building blocks is the interactive eye. Let's start with the mind map. With the mind map, again, this can be a ProConnect activity. I'm going to go down to that spinning piece of paper. I'm going to select Tools. And when I do that, I have some tools that come up within ProConnect. It can be, a lot of these are math races, but the word cloud is going to be one that is more interactive. You ask a question and the students will answer with one-word answers. And the more that that one word is used by several students, the bigger it becomes, the brighter it becomes. But for my purposes right now, I want to select Mind Map. When I select Mind Map, it will load and allow me to enter a subject here. So I'm going to just type in summertime activities. And I'm going to start the tool. Again, I have Start Tool, Redo, Start ProConnect. If I wanted this to be a ProConnect activity where students are interacting using their device, I would select Start ProConnect. Right now, for my purposes, I'm just going to select Start Tool. When I do, I get my middle box, Summertime Activities. I can select that box, I can add an arm to it, and let's say Outdoor. Add that, I can take that, stretch the arm out a little bit more. I'm going to again come down to Summertime Activities, select again, select my add, and Indoor. And I'm going to stretch that out. Now for Outdoor, again, what I can have my students coming up and selecting the add and adding words, etc. If I were doing a ProConnect session, on the right-hand side, students would have all their answers listed, and I could then click and drag and match it. Here, once I have everything up on my screen here, I can select the settings, little cogwheel, if you will. When I do that, I have a little drop-down menu. I can add text, I can add clip art, I can add pictures, I can add video, link it, sounds, etc. So think about it this way. If I were teaching Romeo and Juliet, and my students were having a really difficult time getting the characters associated with the correct houses, etc. What I could do is I could have, instead of Summertime Activities, this could be listed as Romeo and Juliet, or Houses of Romeo and Juliet. Over here, I would have the first house. I could have list of all of Romeo's family and everybody that fell into that. And Juliet, all of Juliet's family and everybody that lived in that household. I could then go and add video clips of the play or of the movie for each character, or add a picture from the play or the movie, whatever. And now they're creating their own study guides based off of this. We've created this mind map, and now it's their turn to go out and take this, build upon it, add whatever they need to. Maybe it's a website, maybe it's a video. and now they've built upon it, and they have that study guide. One thing I did not mention that I think is super important, especially if we're talking about using the software as a study guide, is if I go down to the file folder and I want to share, I can share this with the students in my class. Or maybe my school has a policy where it actually has to go to the parents instead of the students. That's fine. Students can sign up for a free account. I can send this file to their free account or to their email associated with their free account. And now tonight, when they go home, their parents and the student can sit down together and review what we did in class. Again, major perk. You're incorporating school and home all together. So that was our mind map. Code-wise, hour of code we just got done with, but again, doesn't mean we have to stop coding in the classroom. Code-wise is a really fun activity. I can change this background. I'm going to come to the bottom here and select background. It may be a little bit difficult to see because I have a couple things layered here, but I have a beach scene, I have the alphabet, I have a world map, etc. But what I've done here is I've simply gone to background and selected this gray background, brought in an image from Google Maps of Siesta Key, and now I can have my students code their way to the Sandpiper Beach Hotel. So they would need to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They need to turn, they need to go down a few, they need to jump when they get there. So when they come here and select the play button, on the right hand side I can see what steps they are on. They're going to turn, they're going to continue going straight. Oh, we passed the beach club and they're going to jump. We made it. So again, code-wise, you can use for either getting familiar with your surroundings, using Google Maps, maybe it's a picture of your classroom that you've put in there. It could be one of the backgrounds that are already listed for you. The beach background, where they need to pick up seashells and put those into their bucket. Endless possibilities. The interactive eye. I told you this was one of my new favorites. It's because I keep finding new ways to use this interactive eye. If I am teaching the parts of a flower, I can have the interactive eye on there, which is considered one of our building blocks. Now when students come, maybe I have it into the classroom, maybe I have this set up as a center activity. Now when the students come in and are working in that center and they select, tap on this stem, I have the word STEM, but I have information about the STEM. I've added text. So I've got all this text about the STEM. I've added a video. They can play that video. I can, again, change the color of it if I wanted to do some sort of color coding, etc. I have a pedal. If I click that cogwheel again, I have that text. I can add more. I'm going to select add. I could add more text, video. I could add a link to a website, sound, illustration. I can add all of these things to make this more of a student-led type of lesson. So I think of web quests. How you, okay kids, this is where you need to go, this is what you need to do. Now we're giving that responsibility to the students using this interactive eye. I've created this ahead of time, this lesson file. I want you to go through and using the interactive eye, find out as much information about this topic as you can, and it also will allow them to dig deeper. I can then send this file via email to the students, to their free account, and they can again go back home, review this, and when it's time to come in tomorrow, they can already review that and be ready for maybe a pop quiz. Also on this screen, we have been doing quite a bit with fire and rescue and emergency services. One of the things that they brought up just recently was being able to have a map. This is one of the things that they just rave about. They've loved this part of the interactive eye and some of the pro connectabilities as well. But when you have a Google map and you're using that interactive eye, they can select on, we'll say, Midnight Pass, and now they can put in pictures of what that responder is seeing. So they've added this. Okay, well, this is what we saw. Okay, what can we learn from this? This is a training exercise. What are we going to learn? How can we build and improve our response time with this? Again, this is just sticking a point. Traffic is a nightmare. We can't go this way. We need to go a different way. We are on US 41. We should hang a left or hang a right. So again, the interactive eye has, again, a ton of possibilities listed in there. Now I've done quite a bit of chatting here, and I see I do have a few people online. Is there anybody that has any questions or would like to know how something works within the presenter software? Again, we have that live chat box in the right-hand side of your screen. Please feel free to write where you're viewing from or say hi. It's getting a little lonely over here. Our last screen here, as I'm kind of wrapping up this slide, doesn't mean we have to be done. This last slide is advertising for you to sign up for some more fun. We have other professional development workshops. We've listed just a few here. If there's a workshop that you and your school would be interested in, please let us know. You can email us at pd@elbglobal.com. Or again, you can just simply email k.fin@elbglobal.com with any of your other questions. I will be on for just a few more minutes in case anybody has any questions. Again, I encourage you to log in for our next live YouTube webinar and to also reach out with any questions that you would like, whether that's on the live chat or whether that is via email. We would love to hear from you and love to know either how you are using the software or how you plan to use the software. So please let us know. I will sit quietly now and let you fill in whatever you would like as far as questions or write down whatever information you would like. Thank you so much for coming and viewing with me today, and I hope you've gotten some good tips or have learned some new tricks with your presenter software. All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for watching, and I look forward to hearing any other tips and tricks that you may want to share with us in the future. Thank you. Have a great evening.